Now, I love my little tiny whoops and things that I can rush around the garden with, and this one's a ready-to-fly one. It's by LDARC, which used to be called King Kong, and I really love King Kong as well, so we're ticking a few of the boxes to start with. And this is quite a big old sort of lunchbox style storage and everything. I like this idea, it's really nice. Everything's in one place, you just take it with you, even the charger and everything. They do the 6, 7 and 8, and I've got the 6X. So let's get this out and see what you get for your money. And this is everything out of the box, and first things first, you only get one battery with it. A little bit disappointed with the tiny whoops. You know, I want half a dozen, I want a dozen of them, and I want to charge them all at one time. But with this one you don't, that's fine. It's easy to buy replacement ones and spare batteries, and you'll definitely need them because you only get a couple of minutes flight out of it. I would have thought 3 minutes would be an absolute max out of something like this, and you'll just want to keep flying. The good news is, like I say, you can get loads of spares and everything. This actually comes with a high voltage one, and it's 30 to 60 C, and as you can see it's 250 milliamp hour. We've got it's got the I think they're called PH 2.0s, the actual connector there. It's the larger one out of the two, and you actually get a little battery meter with it as well, which I think's rather cool. So you can actually check your batteries, see how they're doing, and you get a little colour scale with it. I've got it around the wrong way. You've got a colour scale with it there, so it's in the red, so basically we're really low. It's in storage voltage at the moment. Then we go amber, green, and then when you're fully charged up on the 4.35s it goes to the blue at the LED here. And you can check both sizes here. You've got the 1.25 on this side, and then you've got the 2mm on that side. You get a little USB charger, really sort of basic looking thing, but really good. And you can switch this between the high voltage ones, 4.35, and the normal voltage at 4.2. I would use a power bank if I'm out and about, and I'm just going to use that to show you. Once you plug it in, you get a little red LED going on there, and then when it's fully charged it will stop. If you're charging normal voltage ones, don't put them on the 4.35, you could damage your battery, so just be careful of that. Onto the transmitter, and it's a really nice looking gaming transmitter, really high gloss, ever so nice sort of thing. It's got a built-in Lipo battery, which is rather nice, a really easy one to replace. It just uses a lossy micro connector there, and it's a 600 milliamp hour, and it's squeezed in there a little bit tight, but it will come out. There we go. So they've just put their own little sticker on it, but it's basically a normal sort of 600, so you can easily get a replacement for that. And you charge it up via USB here, micro USB here. So one thing I didn't notice in my pack, I haven't noticed that they mention it either, but I'm sure you've got one of these cables in, so just simply plug it into any USB power port, mains, laptop, your car, whatever, plug it in there, and the LED goes off when it's fully charged. And then on, it's got a simple slider there, and it's got a nice little fail-safe system. If the throttle's up at all, it will keep beeping at you. When you turn that off, it's fine, ready to go. You've got arm and disarm here, so that arms it, so you get the green on, and you've got your sort of trigger ones here, your finger buttons here, so you turn it on and off. This starts in angle mode, and then you go into horizontal mode, and then you go down into acro mode as well. And like I say, it's a mode 2 transmitter, and you've got your trims as well, and when you activate those, once you bring it back to center, you get a high-pitched beep, which means you've brought them back to center and everything. So you shouldn't need to do that unless you've got some major issues with the actual quad itself. And I was very pleased to see, when you actually look really deeply in there, the camera won't pick it up, there is actually a cable in there as well, which is nice to see. So they've actually put an antenna on rather than the fake one that a lot of the manufacturers use. And onto the actual quad itself, and nice little, I mean, these have been around for a little while now, but they have upgraded it from the Tiny 6. We've got 716 motors on it, so they're 7mm diameter and 16mm long if you're new to it. The props are 31mm, and again, another little slightly disappointing thing there, you don't get any spare props. They are quite difficult to damage, but I've managed to damage them, and they've only got to get something caught there, and they snap as quick as anything. And again, easy to replace. I'll put some links down in the description for you. You've got the antenna sticking out the top, and then you've got the receiver one sticking out the bottom, which is rather nice, so it should give us good range with it. And to pop it onto Betaflight, you've got the micro USB connector there, so you just plug that into your computer and go and configure it in Betaflight, which I need to do because I've actually been having a little play around with this and had a look through it, and the these two buttons here, yes, they change the LEDs, but it just flies in stabilized. It doesn't fly in horizon and acro mode out of the box. So you do need to take it into Betaflight, or to be perfectly honest, with these, I'll summarize this at the end. I think you could just keep it in stabilized. They are such good fun to fly, but a little bit disappointing they haven't actually programmed that in on it straight away. It is 65mm from there to there, that's why it's a 65. Oh, and the props have a 0.8mm holes in them, but like I say, I put a link in the description for them. You've got VTX all built in, and it's back at about 10 degrees angle, and it's fixed as well, so you can't alter it, but honestly, again, that's about right for these. They've got it pretty spot on, I'd say. You got a 25 milliwatt 16 channel VTX in there, and that's 800 TVL and 150mm lens, so a nice wide angle lens. I actually like the wide angles, I know some guys don't. The actual RX is an RX 800 Pro, they call that, and everything's all bound up. You don't have to do anything with it. The actual transmitter and everything's all bound up, no problem at all. And you've got plug and play motors as well. That's rather nice. So if one of them does go, you can easily unplug it. And you've got the two different coloured wires for whether it's a clockwise or anti-clockwise. The flight controller is an F3, and it's rubber mounted there, so it's got anti-vibration on it. And yeah, it all seems pretty good actually. The little motors, normal sort of things, have got the little rubber bands holding the cables out the way, and they're literally clipped in there. So it's rather nice looking little quad, I must admit. And I'm going to get my battery fully charged and get out for a flight. You also get a great little instruction manual that's all in Chinese on one side, and then you flick it over and it's all in English, and it does run through everything for you. It's really nicely done, and it runs through the different models that you can get with the 6, 7 and 8, and also whether you've got an advanced combo, a basic or a ready to fly. It runs through all the specs and everything on it, runs through your setups, and obviously they do a multi-charger one as well, which would be nice. Runs through all the functions on the transmitter as well, and all the colour codes for your actual frequency on the actual transmitter for the FPV, and then it runs through what your settings are in Betaflight and how it's set up and configured, and then just onto basically sort of a rundown of exactly what's included in each kit. So really nicely done. Okay, so we're into Betaflight, and first things first, if you just want to get out and fly a great little quad, don't bother coming into Betaflight. You don't need to. If you want to fly in acro mode, and I'll tell you why I'm really not that worried about it in here. It flies so well in angle mode or stabilized mode. It's absolutely awesome. I've re-recorded this bit actually, as you can probably tell. I've been out and played with it and done loads and loads of flights with it and had a great time. Honestly, it's stabilized in angle mode. This thing is so much fun, and you'll see from the footage, I had a blast with it. So, and indoors and everything, it's going to be better in angle mode or stabilized. So I've plugged the quad in, and as you can see, I'm moving it around. What you should do is put it on somewhere level. I've got it under my desktop computer, so I haven't bothered running the cable up for this particular one. You would basically put it on somewhere level and hit the calibrate accelerometer, but honestly, I didn't need to. I just flew it out of the box. It was absolutely fine. You got your ports was all set up. Everything's all set up fine. It's just you can't, with the buttons on the side, you can't put it into horizon or acro or air mode or any other mode that you decide. Everything was set up correct in through here. The PIDs I've had to play around with. The techie guys are very kind that they share their PIDs with us. So us non-techie ones who just enjoy flying and haven't got into this side fully yet can have a go with them. And these are the ones I've played around with, and off several different channels. This seems to be around this sort of area, seems to work pretty good. So thanks to those guys for doing that. That just seemed to give us a little bit better flight. But honestly, if you don't want to come in here, just leave it as it is. It's damn good fun. Onto the receiver, and I'm going to turn the receiver on now. There we go. We got beep beep, and as you can see, everything's come on there. So I've got the throttle is working there, and if I get the icon up as well, the graphics there, you can see as I rotate, it's rotating on the yaw and spin, pitch, roll. Yeah, so you can literally do everything. You see the controls working there. Everything worked absolutely spot out the box. The only thing didn't work was here, and we've got our arm on and off. So
that means it's unarmed, and this was set up correctly. This was no trouble at all, but these ones weren't, so I needed it was on auxiliary 2, and this just did nothing. The buttons that you press, that they tell you it does out of the box, it doesn't basically. So if I press that one, it now goes into horizon mode. As you can see there, it's moved along. So all you have to do is just move these sliders along and make sure that's on aux 2, which is the way they've set it up. And then I've actually set it up on air mode, so if I now press it again, oops, wrong way, there we go, and then it now goes into air mode as well. And there's no beeper or OSD on this one, which is a bit of a shame. Motors, I haven't played around with anything at all in here. And just when you do those changes in here, just make sure you save them back, and you're ready to fly. So come and join me. I'm going to do a line of sight, and then I'll show you all the FPV fun I've been having. And you can either plug the quad in first of all, or you can plug the or turn the transmitter on first of all. It doesn't seem to make a lot of difference. I would always do transmitter first, and then it's an auto bind system. We don't have to do anything at all, and obviously it won't do anything until we actually arm it. Here we go, and there we are, we're off and away. So let's just see how we go. Oi, this thing's quite nice. There's quite a breeze coming across me that way, as if I hold it there, here we go. The breeze is going that way. Well, it fights against it pretty well. There we go, so that's angle mode. Oh, it did do it. It did a flip there. I don't know if you could see that on the camera. Honestly, it did. Yeah, it does a flip. There we go. So now we're in air mode. Yep, we are. Hey, this is nice. I like this. Hey, lovely. That is nice. Well, yeah, we like it. Actually, well, no, I think we've got a little bit of rodeo going on the transmitter, but it's, hey, it's actually pretty good, actually. Perhaps I've actually found the one that, whoa, we could actually, somebody new could just literally buy this and fly. Let me turn that back into angle mode and stabilize mode. There we go. That gets a bit of a shift on. Right, I'm going to go and find some goggles because we've got sunlight. I've got a quad to fly. Okay, so when I was playing around with that line of sight, I did go down in the wet leaves, as you saw, as you can see on the actual ducted fan bit there. But this is basically all in stabilise this one, and then I'll go into an acro one and show you why I'm not overly keen on these sort of transmitters in acro flight. In stabilise, works absolutely fantastic. I loved it. It was really good. It's so precise. You pop it through anywhere, really. It's a tiny little quad, but as you'll see in a second, it does get a little bit of a shift on as well, which I was quite impressed with. It recovers well as well. You've got enough power there with the 7mm motors to give you a little bit of go as well, so there's no issues there. I think they've got this pitched about right with the weight and the power it produces. For me, it worked absolutely fine, and it's a good test around my garden. As you saw there, sort of starts to really get a nice little shift on, and so precise. You could just, you know, literally turn it on a dime or a tanner, I would say. I had a little play here to sort of, whoops, a little bit too close. It was going to come up behind me, caught the stones, and it's so recoverable. Even in air mode, I found I could recover it well, because I did have some issues in air mode. And as you see here, hit me welly, and it still actually just bounces back out and just keep flying it. It just kept going, and there's not many quads that will do that. And then this is quite a weird feeling when you've got something coming towards you and you're filming from it. It's quite an unusual one. And then a good test coming up in a second, pop it up through the planks of wood and everything, and then I actually do a flip there and then just come straight back under the wheelbarrow. So that's a really nice little tight area through there, and just show how precise it was. Honestly, I don't know why you would really want to be flying this in anything apart from stabilised. And then I just sort of show you a quick acro flight, and here we go, we're away on this one. So
after just about an hour, flick it up into acro, and you see you get that sort of lollop and kick in again, just slightly. And it's if you were new to flying, you really wouldn't spot it. Wouldn't be an issue. But for me, I fly a lot, so I sort of can feel that it's there. It's not quite right. It's just the transmitter. You know, if you've got all the money, there we go. There's the kick in. You see that just drop in. You're playing with the stick gently, and then all of a sudden you get a load more power on it than you were thinking on whatever maneuver you were doing, sort of thing. So if you stick in stabilized, it's absolutely awesome. That's what I would do with this setup. I wouldn't even bother taking it into beta flight, I don't think.
Okay, so I'm going to run a load of FPV stuff around just to show you how much fun I had with this thing. And you'll know in my voice straight away, I absolutely loved it. It's a blast, really good fun. I've broken 2 props on it, and that's why I put yellow ones on. I've got red ones, I've got yellow ones, I've got all sorts of colour ones for these size props. But I thought I'd point out the fact you do break the props. I don't, unless you're a really careful pilot and never ever go in twigs or anything. That doesn't happen in my garden. They've got loads of twigs that leap out and grab quads. Having said that, this has hit the deck a few times. I've gone into the garage, you know, the house gets in the way, all sorts of things get in the way in the garden, and I haven't actually damaged the frame, which I'm really pleased about. It doesn't go that fast, but I tell you what, it's not that slow either. Mate had a go. He's not flown an awful lot, and he thought this was awesome, and I must admit I totally agree with him. This is just a great little one in that little box. Just take it out with you. You can just fly it anywhere, wherever you go, and flying indoors would be absolute blast. But I have proved that you can fly outdoors, and we had a little bit of a breeze and it worked really well. Things I would recommend, definitely get yourself some more props, because once one of those goes you're going to be not flying, and then you're waiting for the slow boat from China, or you can buy them in whatever country you are. Loads of people will stock these. And the other thing is get some spare batteries as well. Maximum flight I got was just under 3 minutes, but that was a one-off basically. All the others were less than that, about 2.5 minutes sort of max sort of thing. Yeah, you're looking around that sort of area. Transmitter was great. I thought the range was awesome. I mean, I really, you know, put myself different places around the garden, next to a metal garage, great big thick trees I stood behind, and then we've got an old house, old property, so it coped really well with anything around in the garden whatsoever. It was really good. The transmitter was great, and I loved it in stabilized or angle mode, whatever you want to call it. It was absolutely superb. When you go into acro, there's like a dead stick area in the middle. It's not actually dead, but you give it a little bit of roll, say, and you're just quite happy sort of banking around, and you're coming into a nice turn, and then you sort of ease it back the opposite way in acro, and it just doesn't quite respond the way you'd expect. It's a lot better than most, I must admit, but it's still not like flying on something like, you know, the Tyrannus sort of thing. But then you're going to up the price if you're going to buy this, and you know, it's not really that fair to compare it, but I'm telling you, I wound up flying back in stabilized, and it was such good fun, and you could do everything with it. It seems that because you're giving the stick input all the time, when you're pulling it back, you don't notice if there is a dead area in there, and as far as I can see, you cannot alter this. You can't alter the expos on it or anything else. So I had an absolute blast with it. I love it. I've got everything. I've got loads of spare batteries, so I'm going to be out for another play with it. Hope you've enjoyed the review. Certainly enjoyed it. You're coming along for the flight, and I'll see you on the next one.